Hey, I'm Tanya, your resident behavior analyst, and today I'm here to continue to talk to you about the grocery store. This is the second video in a series about the grocery store, and it goes along with a blog post that I wrote titled The Mystery of the Well-Behaved Child at the Grocery Store. You can check it out below if you'd like. So in the first video, we talked about preventive planning and setting events and the importance of keeping the environment in mind and possibly manipulating the environment if necessary in order to increase your success at the grocery store. This video is going to be all about choosing your target behavior. What is a target behavior? That's going to be the behavior that you decide to work on with your child to decrease or replace with a more appropriate behavior, or both. So what I mean by that is, obviously, every child will engage in different types of problem behavior while they're at the grocery store. If you're struggling at the grocery store because your child is having tantrums or meltdowns, screaming, crying, falling to the floor, refusing to stay near you, refusing to hold on to the cart, refusing to sit in the cart, refusing to sit in the basket as a last resort, then it's important to work on these behaviors. But sometimes if your child is engaging in a bunch of them, it might be easier to just focus on one, and then the others will either naturally start getting better on their own, and if they don't, then you just simply, you target one. When it gets better, then you target the next one. When it gets better, then you target the next one. But one thing with kids is if you try to do too much at once, it's usually not very effective, or it takes a lot longer than it really needs to. So as long as you are picking one behavior to work on, let's say you want to work on your kid not screaming when they want something. You know how they get. They'll ask you nicely, and then they slowly and progressively just get louder with every request because you either haven't answered or you told them no, and they're not okay with that. So if you're going to work on that, let that be your target behavior. And if you're going to work on it, you also need to have a reasonable expectation as to what your target needs to be for your good behavior, because for every bad behavior, you want to replace it with a good behavior. So instead of your child screaming, you want them to probably speak to you in a normal tone of voice. And here's the tricky thing too. If they're screaming at you because they are not accepting your no, then accepting no is also a good target behavior. You want to work on them accepting no. What does that mean? For most kids, when I work on that, it's just accepting another choice. We're all given choices in our day-to-day life when we're denied access to certain things, and so I think it's reasonable to say that for kids as well. So, hey, we can't have the Cocoa Puffs, I'm sorry, but you can have Pop-Tarts or oatmeal, I don't know, 2 other choices. If they can't have a snack at all, maybe you've brought snacks with you because you know that they always want a snack while they're at the grocery store. So you pull them out of your purse. Look what I brought for you though. Surprise! I've got Teddy Grahams or Skittles. I don't know, gummies. Let them choose, and then hopefully they can make that choice, accept your no without screaming, and then you can get on with your grocery shopping until the next thing they decide they want. So those are the main things that you want to consider when choosing your target behavior. You want to choose one behavior at a time. You want to choose a replacement behavior. And you want to have a reasonable expectation of what that behavior is going to look like. And speaking of reasonable expectations, it's also reasonable to take into account how often your child is doing it. As a behavior analyst, I collect data. I don't expect you to do that. But usually I know that if a kid's doing it 30 times in a trip to the grocery store, it's not going to go to 0 in 1 trip, in 2 trips, maybe not even in 3 trips. It's going to take a while. So keep your expectations realistic. If it's happening almost constantly when you're at the grocery store right now before you even start anything to try to make it better, then it's not going to get better right away. This is a habit that has been formed, and it takes a while to break habits. The longer a habit has been going on, the longer it takes to break it. So just expect that if it's something that your child is doing constantly, you're going to need to work on getting them to do it about half the time, and then once you've kind of reached that milestone, maybe up the ante a little bit on the reward or whatever it is that you're using, and try to get it down to 0. But it's going to take time. You have to be patient. They're kids. Just is what it is. And that's that in a nutshell. I hope that was helpful. Please subscribe and sign up for alerts below if you haven't already. Check out the blog if you'd like in the meantime, and the last video will come out in a couple of weeks. I'm going to talk about 2 different options you have for older kids and younger kids on ways to teach them their replacement behaviors at the store and how to actually put that into place. So I'll catch you then. Bye.